Yes, finally! 2.2 is out and we're all playing it right now. We're all enjoying the new map and the campaign. And, well, not me. I haven't played the campaign yet, but I am on the new map. And, of course, the new tank tracks and new blocks are so cool to mess around with. And this is why I'm making this video, because I have built something really cool utilizing most of the new blocks. I think you guys are going to like it. Can you guess what I built? Well, I mean, obviously, you've read the thumbnail and title. Yes, I have built another Vtol creation, also a submarine creation. It's a Vtol and a submarine merged together, and yeah, let's just go ahead and show it off. Also, before I do, really quick, as of time of recording, I haven't played the campaign yet, and I did a video before where I had early access, but I didn't show off the map because I didn't want to spoil myself. However, I had to join a dev versus creator live stream. And basically, me and Scrapman went against the devs in some cool vehicles, but we had to play on the map, so it did spoil that for me. But I haven't played the campaign. Have not played the campaign. I've seen the map, but I've not been spoiled to the campaign. So hopefully soon we can get the campaign playthrough on the channel. Of course, guys, you know me. Instead of hopping into a campaign, I just started building in Sandbox. I think most players are doing that right now. Just hopping in Sandbox version and going on the new map and building new vehicles. Just slapping on tank tracks to everything. But that's enough waffling. Here it is. Here's my creation. There is no name to this creation right now. It is unnamed. This is where you guys can decide what to call it. But let's just take it in. I'm just gonna walk around. You know what? Instead of walking around, I can do some cinematic shots here. Here it is. Look at this. I gotta say, I haven't built something in a while that's like genuinely I've enjoyed building. You know, a lot of my creations, well, at least for me, you know, I've kind of been just like repeat creations. I build a lot of things in this game, and sometimes there is just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. You do lose enjoyment on building the same things, but this time around with the new blocks, the submarine seat, the new buoyancy blocks here, and of course the main star of this build, the medium-sized skis, it just made building this build so refreshing for me. And that's what we gotta appreciate about updates. When we get new blocks, we get like so many new features in terms of building, of course. Like those brand new transition blocks, here they are. You can see some of them. And the new wedge, look at that. They just complete this build. So let's actually talk about this creation before I show off its functionality. Biggest elephant in the room is the color. I have painted this a very weird color, but that's because we have a brand new color palette in the game. We have a bunch of new colors, and the main color for this build is actually the aqualite green. I don't know, just looks like it's still like military-esque, but like also dulled down a bit. You know, it's just, I don't know, it's different. So I'm super grateful we have some new colors to work with. Now, the next thing I want to talk about with this creation is, yes, the green decals. Now, some of you may think, like, why have you done that, Yzuei? That kind of looks weird. That looks like moss or mold, you know? Well, exactly. It is supposed to look like that. This vehicle has been, in my headcanon, used for a while, many years. It's still running. It's still maintained. If this was a roleplay, then this vehicle would be old. But it's still futuristic, you know? It's still a futuristic creation. And I decided to do the green moss effect because, obviously, it is also an aquatic vehicle. It can go underwater. And I just think it's been on many missions. It's been underwater a lot. You can see the wear and tear and how much, like, moss and stuff has grown on the wings from the constant missions. But moss isn't the only decal I've added to this thing. If I actually take off really quick and put my landing gear in, underneath you can see some wear and tear, and this is the first time I've used this decal in this effect, and I think this is probably the coolest way you could ever use this decal, and it is the scratch decal, this decal right here. And what I've actually done is enlarge the decal and made sure like only the white bit is visible, and it just looks awesome. It looks like the paint has been scratched off from many rough landings, and you know, it's been used for years. You can see on the back here, this is so cool. the build is back heavy. The landing gear is forward a little bit. I couldn't get it back more because of the design with these buoyancy blocks. And you can really see that I've adopted that. It is a back heavy build, and you can see how these decals are nice and stretched. And you know, to stretch them, you just like place them at a weird angle like that, and these decals just make it look like all the paint scratched off here and it's been through some general wear and tear. It's so cool looking. So pro tip here, if you want to make things look like they're beaten up and stuff, I know we have the textures, but actually using decals is a good way to do it. I really like the neon, especially with on a futuristic build. You gotta have some neon on it, right? But yeah, that's basically everything to talk about with its appearance. So let's actually talk about the main components. Now, for weaponry, we have 2 turrets that can actually aim around, and I am super proud with these turrets because they are tiny. Like, for fully functioning turrets that use aiming servos with obviously the small flat cannons on, they are really small. I'm just using 2 aiming servos per turret, and I've made them really compact by having like a really smart connection where I have this aiming servo connected to this rounded wedge, and that wedge connected to this aiming servo, and of course with some flat connectors, they connect to the U-bracket, which is the holder for the weapons. So yeah, super proud on how compact those turrets are. For our next set of weapons, we do have some rockets. It's not an air creation without rockets. We gotta have rockets on. And we do need weaponry, of course, for being under the ocean. So I've just stuck on some mini torpedoes. For those of you who are not too familiar with this game, Trailmakers, and are just casually viewing this video, if you happen to be doing that, I'm gonna point out the new blocks I have used on this creation. So here is the first one, Submarine seat. This is a brand new seat from the update, and it is a seat that does exactly what it says. It can go underwater. It's a submarine seat. We don't have many cool looking seats like this that can do that functionality. Every other seat, except from the ones made for the ocean, will just kick you out of the seat. So having this submarine seat, which is multi-purpose by the way, is such a W for the game. The next blocks I'm using are the rounded buoyancy blocks, just to add some depth to the build and also functionality. Because it is an underwater build, I needed to make this thing neutrally buoyant, and I've done that with a bunch of buoyancy blocks hidden inside the build, including these big rounded ones which provide the main buoyancy because they're so big. And finally, the golden child of this creation is the skis. The skis are pretty much the motivation for this build. And you know, most people getting on the update would just use the skis exactly what they're meant to be for, you know, just for ground vehicles, for skiing around in the snow and ice. But me, I saw them as a landing gear because they are awesome looking. They also function really well. They provide their own suspension. If you just look at that, how they compress. I do have suspension, like large pieces of suspension there, you know, just to kind of cushion things a little bit more. But the fact that these skis can bend depending on the angle and the terrain is so cool. That is such an interactive functional block. Gotta love these brand new medium skis. All right. So, we've seen the creation up close. Let's actually see it and how it functions. But before I do that, we need to head on over to a new version of this map because we don't have any enemies. And I would quite like to actually shoot some botnak right now. Okay, I spawned at a random island here. I'm just hovering. And you know what? We can actually talk about that. I'm using some logic in here, obviously, to keep this thing hovering. Basically, just some speed sensors, really. And bear witness to my turrets actually kicking into gear. So anytime I'm in the vehicle, except from when I'm in the ocean, these turrets will just automatically, like, just point wherever I look. They can only turn like 90 degrees each way. That's why I have one on the front and the back, just to kind of cover all my bases. And I don't know why I decided to use flat cannons. You know, they're not the strongest weapon. But I don't know, they just feel really cool to shoot. They feel really appropriate. So let's actually just start flying and see if we can find some enemies to shoot. Now, I gotta say, this build does have a lot of drag. It's not the fastest creation, especially underwater. It's like super slow underwater. You will see that. Oh, there's some enemies. Those are shielded. We don't want to mess with any shields. There we go. Fire! Where are they going? They're going up the hill. Alright, there's a shielded guy. There's no way I'm taking him out. But yeah, I am quite a chunky build. I'll do my best to fight these opponents. Now, I'm assuming there's some viewers watching this and thinking, why does this build look so familiar? And if you were thinking that it kind of looks like a Marvel Quinjet, or in fact the Halo Pelican, well, you'd be correct, because yeah, I did take inspiration from those iconic like game and movie vehicles. The Pelican itself is just like so iconic to Halo, and if you're a fan of like Marvel, the Quinjet is super recognizable. And basically I have a very similar shape to both of those vehicles. So if anyone's thinking I'm just copying those, then well, no. I've just taken a bit of inspiration, some mild inspiration from those iconic Vtol vehicles. I don't know, I just had to put that argument out there. Honestly, I'm just enjoying flying this thing around. But because we have flat cannons, we do have that extra 500 range. So I can just like bombard things from above, even though, again, these flat cannons are not the best for damage, at least. Oh, this is the big snowy area, so I do want to test if I can like kind of simulate a crash landing. So let's get our gears out and see what it does on the snow. And we're just gonna cut our engines. Oh, that was rough. That, you know what? Pretty cool. We had the first big bounce. Obviously, with the suspension, we took a lot of damage, to be fair. But, you know, it's still actually in one piece. All right, we're going to test it this time without the gears down. So here we go, cutting. Let's gain some speed, actually. There we go. Now cutting off the Vtol. Oh. Okay. Big damage this time. Look at all that damage. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could just ski around on this thing. It works the same. Oh, take off. I see an enemy. Where are you, enemy? Oh, there's loads. There are loads. There we go. There we go. One more. One more. Cool. That was easy. Gotta say, the gyros and gyro stabilizers in this thing are coming in clutch. Like, this thing would not function well without the gyros. Now for the main event. Submarine time. So we're just gonna dive in. And the transition is seamless. So now I am a submarine. Granted, I am slow. Like 18 miles per hour. Not good. Not good at all. And also, I can only use my torpedoes now. Just like when I'm actually in the air. I'm getting stung here. But when I'm in the air, I can raise this altitude and lower its altitude. I can do the same thing with this. It's just very weak. Which might look lame for functionality, but I'm telling you guys, there is like no space for anything inside. It is packed. Absolutely packed with all of the essential pieces. 50% of the room inside there is accommodating for the skis, the landing gear. So I did my best with making it function in both air and sea. And you know what? I think I did a pretty good job. Shooting torpedoes at me? Well, there you go. I just used mine. But there you have it, guys. Here is my new Vtol submarine hybrid creation. Go ahead and give it a name in the comments. I will pin which name is my favorite if I see a good name for this vehicle. Also, I hope I've given you guys some inspiration. And a lot of guys are building tanks and snowmobiles right now in Trailmakers because of the new map. But I really wanted to test the boundaries with the new blocks in the game. And yeah, we've come up with a pretty cool build. So let me know what you guys want to see me build next. And that's about it, really. And I'll see you all in the next one.